What are common themes we typically see in digital transformation lawsuits? My name is Marcus Harris. I'm a software and technology attorney. For the past 20 years, I've devoted my practice to drafting and negotiating software-related agreements and litigating failed software projects in courts across the country. We've been involved in literally hundreds of failed software digital transformation lawsuits over the years. And while the specific facts of each particular failure are different, we see the same allegations consistently in each one of the lawsuits, whether it's a $1 million lawsuit or an $18 million lawsuit. And two of those are that the vendor misrepresented its experience or its skill set. We also see vendors misrepresenting the software functionality, the capabilities of the software, or the features of the software. So vendors will typically oversell the software. They'll oversell the software's applicability to that particular customer's industry or business. They will misrepresent the capability of the software's functionality, its processing speeds, its features. A lot of times what we'll see is that the software presented during the software selection process or the software demonstrations is really not the same software that is actually delivered to the particular customer. The software isn't ready for prime time. Every once in a while we will see gross misrepresentations, fraudulent inducement to enter into the contract, selling software that doesn't exist. I think that's rare, but we do see that sometimes. Vendors' arguments to counter that will typically be things like, well, the software sales process was open and transparent. You had the opportunity to call vendor or customer references. You had the ability to see how the software worked in a live environment. We came onto your site multiple times and demonstrated the software. Moreover, the software functions in accordance with the specifications in the contract, and there is nothing you can point to counter that argument, because in reality, a warranty that the software substantially complies with the vendor's documentation many times doesn't mean very much. The other theme that we will typically see is that the vendor just misrepresents its capabilities or its experience with that particular software product or for that particular industry. It's not uncommon for vendors to have an incentive to enter into a particular industry vertical or space that they've never been in before, or they've got a brand new software product that is geared towards that industry that has not been vetted or hasn't been tested. We see that on a pretty consistent basis. The vendors will typically counter with arguments like, well, the software certainly works. It's been implemented in customers across the globe in multiple instances, hundreds of thousands of instances. The software works. Your employees were not empowered to make decisions. They didn't have an understanding of your business. They didn't understand your business processes. They weren't empowered to guide us through the implementation process and really to work with us and to help us make decisions. We see these allegations on a pretty consistent basis time over time. If you're in the middle of a digital transformation failure and you're experiencing any of these issues, feel free to reach out to us at taflaw.com. We'd love to talk to you about trying to right-size your project and really discussing with you what your options are from a litigation perspective and to get your project on the right track and solve whatever problems you're dealing with.